You know that moment when you think you're dreaming but the nightmare is real. I woke up to the smell of roasted chicken and Beyoncé's voice blaring from my living room, and I was still in my damn pajamas. It was 11:07 a.m. I remember the exact time because I stared at the blinking digits on the microwave in disbelief as I stumbled out of our bedroom. My eyes were swollen from lack of sleep, my head foggy. I had worked the night shift at the hospital, got home at 4 a.m., and crashed face first into bed. And now, less than 7 hours later, my house was full of strangers. My bare feet hit crumbs on the hardwood floor before I saw the crowd. Streamers were hanging from the ceiling fan. Beer cans lined the kitchen counter. A half-eaten birthday cake sat crooked on my wedding photo frame. And then I heard her voice. Her voice. Ko chuadandiaya? Ko kokdu. I froze. My mother-in-law, Cheryl, stood in my kitchen wearing a red sequin blazer and holding a spatula like a royal scepter. Her silver hair was curled like she was about to shoot a perfume commercial, and she looked at me like I was dirt under her expensive heels. I blinked at her, not understanding. "You're still in bed? At this hour?" she continued, her tone coated in venom masked as concern. "You didn't even prepare anything for Matthew's birthday? How embarrassing." Matthew? My husband. My husband whose party was now happening in our house without my knowledge. I turned slowly, scanning the room. I didn't recognize half the guests. A few looked up at me, whispering. One woman gave me a once-over and laughed into her mimosa. I finally spotted Matt near the couch, laughing with some guy from work. He held a beer in one hand and didn't even look surprised to see me there. No hug. No smile. Just a shrug. "Hey babe, you're up." Up? I was up, all right. I was up and humiliated in my own house. I stood there, surrounded by strangers, judged by a woman who never respected me, dismissed by the man who vowed to love and protect me. And in that exact moment, all I wanted to do was scream. But I didn't. Because I'm a nurse. I know how to hold it together even when someone's bleeding out on the floor. Instead, I walked back into the bedroom and closed the door. Locked it. 5 minutes later, there was a knock. Then another. Then Cheryl's voice again. "Sweetie, you can't hide in there forever. This is a party. Be a good host, would you?" A host. In a party I didn't plan. In a home they'd turned into a circus without asking. I sat on the edge of the bed and tried to breathe. I thought about every warning sign. How Cheryl had always hated me for being too quiet, too tired, too focused on my career. How Matt had laughed when she joked about redecorating our place to feel more like home. How he never corrected her when she talked over me or insulted my cooking. But this was new. I got up and checked the front door. Unlocked. Unarmed. She must have used the spare key I told Matt to stop giving out months ago. Of course he didn't listen. I took a deep breath and walked back into the war zone. People were dancing now. Someone had turned on strobe lights. I found Matt again and pulled him aside. "Did you know about this?" I asked. He sipped his beer. "Yeah, Mom said she wanted to do something special. You were asleep and I didn't want to wake you up after your shift. Chill." "Chill?" I whispered, my voice shaking. "She broke into our house. She called me an uninvited guest." "She was just joking," he shrugged. "You're being dramatic." Dramatic? That word again. That word men use when they want to silence you. I turned and walked toward the kitchen, where Cheryl was telling someone from her Pilates group that I rarely clean because I'm too exhausted from playing doctor. I grabbed the cake knife and slammed it down on the counter hard enough to make everyone jump. "Get out," I said, low and firm. Cheryl turned, eyes wide. "This is not your house," I said. "You were not invited. None of you were." "Oh, please," she scoffed. "You're being emotional. It's just a party. You're making a scene." "I am making a boundary," I said, my voice louder. "Get out. Now." That's when the whispering started. Someone said, "Oh my God." Someone else laughed nervously. But one woman, someone I didn't know, stood up and said, "She's right. This is insane." Everyone turned to her. She was tall, dressed in jeans and a plain shirt. She looked like someone's cousin or coworker's date. "I thought this was her party," she said. "I didn't know it was a hostile takeover." The silence that followed was deafening. Cheryl's face turned red. Matt looked like he wanted to disappear. And for the first time that day, I felt seen. I walked toward the door, opened it wide. This party is over, I said. Anyone who's not on the lease needs to leave. One by one, they trickled out. Some muttered apologies. Some avoided eye contact. Cheryl was the last to leave. She paused at the door and looked at Matt. You're okay with this? Letting her speak to me like that. Matt didn't answer. And for once, that silence felt like a win. But it wouldn't last. Because what happened after the party was even worse. The silence after they left felt suffocating. It wasn't peace. It was a vacuum. A pause before the real storm hit. Matt didn't say anything right away. He just stood there in the middle of our trashed living room, looking around like he was trying to calculate the damage. Beer cans on the floor. A salsa stain on the couch. Red lipstick smeared on the bathroom mirror. And then he looked at me like I was the one who ruined it. You really embarrassed me today, he muttered. That was his opening line. Not I'm sorry. Not are you okay? Just straight to blame. I embarrassed you? I laughed a dry, shocked kind of laugh. Your mother broke into our house, turned it into a nightclub, and told me to clean before the guests see me in my own home. And I embarrassed you. You didn't have to make a scene in front of everyone. I didn't have to. Did you ever think I shouldn't have woken up to strangers in my kitchen? He ran a hand through his hair, clearly frustrated. You're always so uptight about everything. It was just a surprise party. It's not like she meant harm. She used a key I told you to take back. She threw a party in my house without telling me. That's not harmless, that's intrusive. It's controlling. And you let it happen. He didn't respond. Just walked into the kitchen and started tossing plates into the sink like it was some dramatic performance. I stood there watching him, wondering who this man even was. The man I fell in love with used to bring me tea when I got home from late shifts. He used to rub my feet and thank me for working 12 hours straight. But that man had slowly disappeared. Replaced by someone who rolled his eyes when I was too tired for date night. Who dismissed my concerns as overreactions. Who let his mother treat me like a squatter in my own home. I went to our room and locked the door again. I didn't cry. I just stared at the ceiling. Replaying the party. Replaying her voice. Haven't you cleaned up yet? We have guests. Like a drill in my skull. That night, Matt slept on the couch. I didn't ask him to. I didn't have to. The line had been drawn and he knew it. The next morning I got a text from Cheryl. You're tearing this family apart. If Matt leaves you, it'll be your fault. No greeting. No explanation. Just venom. I didn't reply. Instead, I screenshotted the message and sent it to Matt. No caption. Just proof. He never responded. But something shifted in the next few days. I started packing. First, it wasn't conscious. Just small things. A pair of earrings I didn't want to lose. My nursing license. My grandma's wedding ring. Then came the bigger things. Book. Scrubs. Toiletries. The charger I always forgot. Matt noticed on the third day. What are you doing? I'm going to stay with Kelly for a while. Why? Because I need space. And because this house doesn't feel safe to me anymore. He scoffed like I had just accused him of murder. Don't be dramatic. Don't call me that again. We stared at each other. Two strangers in a house full of broken trust. And I realized. This wasn't sudden. This was erosion. Years of small moments chipping away at something sacred, until there was nothing left to hold on to. I left that night. Kelly, my best friend since nursing school, welcomed me with wine and open arms. You should have called me during the party, she said. I laughed. I thought about it. But I was too busy trying not to punch Cheryl in the throat. We stayed up until 2 a.m. talking. Not just about the party. But about everything. The way Matt had stopped meeting me halfway. The way Cheryl had always tried to rewrite the boundaries of our marriage. The way I had let it happen slowly, silently because I wanted to be the cool daughter-in-law. I think, Kelly said, pouring another glass of wine, you're finally waking up. And it's about damn time. 2 days later the twist came. It wasn't Cheryl. It wasn't Matt. It was Emma. Emma was Matt's coworker, the one who'd laughed into her mimosa when she saw me that morning. I remembered her too clearly. Her manicured nails. Her barely there dress. The way she touched his shoulder like it belonged to her. She showed up at Kelly's door. I was shocked. Even more shocked when she said, "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have laughed. I didn't know the full story." I crossed my arms. "Why are you here?" "Because I thought you should know. Cheryl told everyone you were sick. Like mentally unstable. She said you'd been checked into a hospital." I blinked. "What?" "She said the party was at your house because Matt needed cheering up while you were away getting help." I didn't question it. But after what I saw and what you said, I started asking around. Turns out, she's done this before. With Matt's ex. And the one before her. My blood ran cold. "Wait, exes? As in plural?" Emma nodded. "Cheryl sabotaged all his past relationships. I overheard her tell someone once, 'No one's good enough for my son. Especially not these girls with jobs who think they're too busy to cook.'" I felt like vomiting. Not just from the betrayal, but from how long I'd ignored it. Emma reached into her bag and handed me a USB. "I recorded her. At the party. Thought you might want it." That night I listened to the audio. Cheryl bragging about how Matthew needs someone to take care of him. Not someone running around playing nurse. Cheryl calling me a placeholder. Cheryl laughing about using the key Matt conveniently left behind for her. I sent it to Matt. Still no reply. But I knew he listened. Because the next day I got a message from his cousin Rachel. "You're stronger than I thought. I never liked what Cheryl did to you. Good on you for walking away." Then another message. From his aunt. From a friend of his I'd met once. One by one, women who had once kept quiet started speaking up. It wasn't just me. It was a pattern. And I had finally broken it. The floodgates opened once I had that recording. It wasn't just vindication. It was freedom. Messages poured in from Matt's extended family, not just women either. His cousin Brian texted me. "I always thought Cheryl was a bit much, but I didn't know she was capable of this. My mom said she pulled the same stunt on Uncle David's first wife. Creepy how far she'll go to control everything." It was like I had opened a secret file. No one dared to touch the Cheryl file. I wasn't the first victim. I was just the first one to say enough. 3 days after I sent Matt the audio, I came back to the house for the rest of my things. I told Kelly to wait in the car because I didn't want drama. But of course that's not how this story goes. Drama was waiting for me inside. The front door was unlocked again. The first thing I saw was Cheryl, sitting on my couch, holding a cup of tea, like she lived there. I stopped in the doorway. "You have 5 seconds to leave," I said. My voice was flat, cold. I was too tired to yell. She looked up at me like she was the queen and I was a servant who just tracked mud on her marble floor. "I'm here to talk," she said. "Don't be so hostile." I almost laughed. "I don't talk to trespassers." She put the tea down slowly, like she wanted to appear composed. But I could see it in her eyes, that same glitter of control, the one she used to wear like perfume. "You've turned Matthew against me," she said. "He won't return my calls. He said he's thinking things through." I walked past her and started packing the rest of my books. "You should be grateful," she added. "You don't understand how hard it is being a mother. You think you're the victim, but I was just trying to preserve this family." I turned. "You broke into my house. Lied about me. Spread rumors I was institutionalized. If you call that preserving a family, I don't want yours." Her face cracked just for a second, but she composed herself quickly. "I suppose you're planning to divorce him now." "I haven't decided," I said. "But either way, I'm divorcing you." And I meant it. Even if Matt begged me to come back, this woman would never step foot into my life again. She stood slowly and smoothed her blazer. "I won't apologize," she said. "I didn't expect you to." She walked to the door, turned back one last time and said, "You're just like the others. Weak." Then she left. And for the first time in what felt like months, I exhaled. 2 weeks passed. I didn't contact Matt. He texted once. "Can we talk?" I didn't reply. Instead, I focused on myself. I started therapy. I went back to my shifts at the hospital. I slept peacefully, knowing no one was going to enter my home uninvited. Because it wasn't my home anymore. I was renting a small guest house behind Kelly's place. It wasn't fancy mismatched furniture, a wobbly coffee table, and zero closet space, but it was mine. Mine alone. Then one afternoon Matt showed up. Not unannounced, he texted first. "I need to apologize. Please." I agreed to meet him in a public place. A coffee shop 2 blocks away. When I walked in, he was already there. He looked smaller. Not physically, but emotionally. Like something had deflated inside him. "I listened to everything," he said, "no small talk. The recording. The text people sent you. I even talked to my ex, Liz." That caught me off guard. "Really?" He nodded slowly. "She told me Cheryl made her feel crazy. Always twisting things. I didn't believe her then. I thought she was just emotional." He looked up at me, eyes glossy. "And now I see it. I let it happen again. I let her treat you like that. And I just stood there, pretending it was normal. I wanted to feel angry. But I didn't. I felt tired. Tired of being the only one who saw it while everyone else played pretend. "I don't hate you," I said. "But I also don't trust you. You didn't defend me, Matt. Not even once." "I know," he said. "And I know I don't deserve a second chance. I wanted you to hear me say it. I'm sorry. Truly. For all of it." There was a long pause. The barista called someone's name. Laughter echoed from the back corner of the shop. Outside, the streetlight turned amber. Life moved on. So would I. "I forgive you," I said. "But that doesn't mean I'm coming back." He nodded, swallowing hard. "I figured." We didn't hug. We didn't cry. We just looked at each other for a moment, strangers again. Months passed. Cheryl tried to contact me once more through a letter. I didn't read it. I didn't need to. Closure doesn't come from the people who hurt you. Comes from walking away and meaning it. I moved into a new place. A quiet apartment with a view of the river. I bought myself new dishes, new sheets, and a ridiculous pink kettle I had always wanted but Matt said was too girly. I started laughing again. At dumb TikToks. Bad puns. At myself. I started living. And then one day I got a call from a woman named Naomi. She was engaged to Cheryl's nephew. She found me through a mutual friend. She wanted to talk. Apparently, Cheryl had tried to plan her wedding without asking. And Naomi wasn't me. She fought back. Hard. "You don't know me," she said on the phone. "But I just wanted to say thank you. For what you did. For exposing her. I've read your story. And it gave me the courage to stand my ground." That's when I realized. My story wasn't just mine. It was every woman who's been gaslit. Who's been humiliated in their own home. Who's been called dramatic for standing up to manipulation. Every woman who's had to choose between peace and being nice. So I wrote it all down. Everything. The party. The betrayal. The twist with Emma. The moment I finally said no. And now you've read it too. I started sharing pieces of my story online. Not for sympathy but for clarity. Reddit, Medium, even an anonymous blog. I changed the names, masked the locations, but the truth stayed intact. And to my surprise, it resonated. Women from all over commented, messaged, emailed. There was one message that stuck with me. A woman named Jen wrote, "I thought I was going crazy. My Emil has a key to our place. She rearranges my kitchen when I'm not home. I told my husband and he said, 'That's just how she is.' Your story made me realize that how she is not okay." I stared at that message for a long time. Because that was me. That had been me. Sometimes we don't know we're being controlled until someone turns the lights on. And I had lived in the dark for years. I was at peace for the most part until the day I ran into Cheryl again. It was purely accidental, a grocery store on a Sunday afternoon. She was standing by the fruit section, holding an organic mango like it offended her. She saw me before I saw her. I could feel her eyes, that old stare of judgment dripping with entitlement. But I didn't flinch. I didn't smile. I didn't shrink. I walked right past her, pushing my cart with quiet confidence. She stepped into my path. "I suppose you're satisfied now," she said, arms crossed, her signature smirk in place. I looked her straight in the eye. "I'm free," I said. "That's all I ever wanted." She scoffed. "You destroyed my son's marriage." I paused. No. He destroyed it. By letting you control it. For a second she looked like she might cry. Not out of sadness, out of rage. But then she swallowed it, straightened her back and said, I hope you end up alone. I'd rather be alone, I replied, than be under someone's thumb for the rest of my life. And then I walked away. Light. Unshaken. Unapologetic. A few months later I got an update from Matt through Kelly of all people. He was dating again. Someone new. Someone very sweet, according to his Instagram. And Cheryl? Still Cheryl. Apparently, the new girlfriend had already been invited to a spa weekend, which probably meant brainwashing boot camp. I didn't feel jealous. I didn't even feel bitter. I felt lucky. Lucky that I got out before I lost myself completely. I had rebuilt my life. Started saying yes to myself. Yes to sleeping in. Yes to late night tacos. Yes to walking into my apartment and knowing it was mine to clean, decorate, protect, or leave messy without shame. One day, Kelly and I sat on my new balcony with a bottle of wine between us. She leaned back in her chair, eyes half closed, and said, Remember the party? I laughed genuinely. God, it feels like another lifetime. You were so calm, she said. If it were me, I would have started flipping tables. I was too tired to flip, I said. All I had left was clarity. She nodded. That's the scary part, huh? You don't leave because you're mad. You leave because you're finally clear. And she was right. When women leave men like Matt or mothers-in-law like Cheryl, it's not in fire and fury. It's in silence. In packed boxes and locked doors. And no more explaining. No more begging to be believed. Just a quiet resolve that says, this ends now. My last text to Matt came months later. After he sent me a picture of our dog, Daisy, who he still kept after the split. She was sitting by a window, her eyes bright as ever. She misses you, he wrote. I stared at the image for a long time. Then typed back. I miss who we could have been. But not who we were. And that was it. No dramatic confrontation. No parting tears. Just the truth. Simple. Final. Freeing. Some people say family is everything. But I've learned that peace is everything. And if someone, even someone you married, threatens that peace, it's okay to walk away. No apology needed. No permission required. Because a home without safety is just four walls. And love without respect is just a transaction. And a party without the host's consent is just a hostile takeover in glitter and cake. I didn't lose a husband. I didn't lose a mother-in-law. I lost a cage. And I gained myself. The woman who wakes up when she chooses. The woman who throws her own parties. And the woman who never again lets someone else decide whether she belongs.